Okay. Well, welcome to the second workshop in Ridgecrest. This is David Livianu on a beautiful Saturday, still morning, 11 o'clock, in Ridgecrest, California. We're doing a high performance ear training workshop with musicians, music lovers, and just people that want to learn more about how to train their ear to become competent or more competent with recognizing different note structures, as in scales, intervals, 2 notes, triads, 3 notes, and 4 notes, 7 chords, and things like that. Now, what I'm gonna do to make a little more room, I'm gonna do this. Now, what I like to do, I would like to invite the 2 ladies to sit here, and for you to sit here, because we're going to be working with the piano.
Okay, close.
Yes, so I like you can use this table, if you need to put something on the table, this table is for you. And the
Bring no chairs?
yeah, if you want to bring this chair, I can give you another chair. Yes, you can sit here, the 2 ladies here, please.
Okay.
Yes. Yes, sit over there. The gentleman, if you would come here.
So I have a table. That's
Yeah, now
good.
you have a table, you're
Table.
special.
I like that table.
Want a tray? I love tables.
Wait, this is fun.
John, you're gonna come on my side here. You can sit on this chair, sir.
Okay.
Right here. Here.
Keep an eye on me, huh?
Come on, Mike. You can use that little corner or whatever you need.
That way I can play the bass notes for you
Hold
from
on.
my chair.
And you are gonna sit there. John is gonna sit right here.
Okay.
John here, and the 2 or 3 of you there. Perfect. And you're gonna sit on that chair.
This one?
Yes, sir. In case we have somebody else.
Okay.
Let's see if
Oh,
I-
yeah, that's good. I can use this chair.
Now it's good.
Is this safe under anything?
Very good.
I know, you're gonna yell. I don't think I like that.
Is it uncomfortable, son? You can
Oh, I'm
find
fine.
the door over there. I mean,
Oh,
you
no,
don't
no,
have
I'm
to go.
fine.
All right.
I was just thinking maybe. Come, we have one more student.
Oh, good. You want to go get him?
Oh,
Oh,
hello.
oh,
She's right there. I'll go
Hi.
there.
So sorry.
No, I like to stay not real close because my ears are very sensitive.
I will play very quietly. I promise.
Maybe,
Please come over here. This, I do things on the piano. I promise it's going to be very quiet. We won't be loud. Yeah, use this as a table and sit over there. Thank you. We'll be very quiet.
You work around Jeff, you guys are trained.
Yes.
no, I got him trained,
So you
So,
have been trained.
yeah.
thank you. Who is
Oh, no,
Masami?
she gave that for me, that's for me.
But
That's
where's,
her,
but-
oh, she is.
but where's the paper that I gave you?
I gave
I
you
don't
mine.
have a pen to write.
Okay, we'll
Here's
give you a
the
pen.
thing. I have an extra pencil you can keep if you
Yeah,
want.
thank you. I have one.
This is for him.
That's for
Yeah,
me.
he has to
Do
copy.
you have any
that.
Jeff's music pens with you?
Yeah, I gave you my paper.
Yes.
I have
So,
all green.
you're blocking the camera, that's why I put the.
I'm sorry.
And now you're gonna spill the drink, you know? I'm gonna have to talk to, you're gonna bring me a note from the.
Okay, for the doctor?
From the doctor. So Lois, where's Lois?
Me.
Hi, Lois. Masami, pronounce it correctly?
Well-
How do you say it?
In Japanese, I would say Masami. Japanese is
So how do you
flat.
say it?
Masami.
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 Like wasabi.
Got it,
Masami.
thank you. Felicitas,
Yes.
okay, I got Felicitas. Did I give you a piece of paper? Where did I put it? Over there. Good. So, use this as a thing, you can put all your things here. John Clary,
Here. Jon.
yes sir.
Yes, sir.
And Michael Keeter.
It's extra, I have plenty of them.
Okay.
I know you figured I put mine on.
That's wonderful. Very good. So, thank you very much for coming. Thank you very much. This way I have everything in one place. I don't see something that
Yeah,
doesn't
yeah.
belong here. This become. Yeah, you can use this. I can give you another chair if you want to use, or the exactly. So, the purpose of our gathering here, and we have an advantage here, being a very small group. We can have a little more interaction. So 3 hours, we're going to cover a lot. We'll have a lot of time for Q's and A's, and this way it's much easier. But whatever I have to say to you today is identical if I speak to 100 people or to 5 people or 6 people. I don't change what I have to say just because it's a small group. The message and the lesson is identical. So, thank you again very much for coming. And let's start with the basics. Let's just cover the materials I have to give you. Who's here first time? Good. So, for last time, I have to give you the manual for last time, which is over there. Anybody's here for the first time? Felicitas,
Yes.
right? I gave you the manual. So,
Yes, you did.
thank you. So, this is what we did last time, Mike. We did this last time. This book, I was explaining to Felicitas, I don't know, we'll get to know each other, we'll take a break and everybody will chat and all that. And we'll exchange everybody's that wants to exchange, to have everybody's info if they want to stay in touch. So this is the actual lesson, 1 of 32. So there's 32 manuals like this. I added an extra part, which is a little FAQ, 60 FAQs that you can read on your own. Why is this important? The usual stuff that you need to read. So this is the manual. So for last time, because you didn't take the course, this is only $15. Okay? And the lesson today with the manual is $30.
Are you collecting now?
Yes, but I gotta add something. I can collect at the end. And I'm gonna give the manuals now. Now, we're gonna start something a little more serious today. Doesn't mean that it's difficult, it's just serious. Meaning that, yeah, it doesn't.
There's a difference.
It doesn't have to sound scary. Oh, serious, I'm in trouble. Yeah, you know, I work with the little kids at the school, so now I have these habits. When the principal says, "Can I have a word with you?" You know it's serious.
Yeah.
Yes, and they're very nice people, by the way. So, I think I gave Masami one manual, right? Did I give you the new one? No.
No.
So,
This is the one. That's
now the second manual, and we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, exactly. The content is the same. I just got a couple of folders at Walmart, and because we don't have a Staples in town where I can go print it.
Oh, yeah.
Actually, last week it cost me more than $23 per manual because I did it by page at Quick at the big this. Normally the manual.
You know where pack wrap is?
Yeah, but over there it's pricey because 126 pages times 25 cents. You know, with the binding, it cost me almost $24 for the manual. Normally I pay at the big printer $7 for the manual. Anyway, so this manual that you're getting now, it's lesson 2, the A minor scale, and so on. And for those of you that just got in today, I will explain some details that we covered in the last lesson. And you being
I know the relative minor, so.
of course you do. I'm talking about the big structure of the 32 lessons. Of course you do. And again, we have a slightly mixed group here. People that are not professional musicians, but they have such a love for music that they want to jump in. So I'm going to try to balance the level of instruction so you don't go, and the other guy says, "What? I don't get anything." So there's a little bit of a schism here, but I will bring it in the middle, and that's the advantage of being in a small group, that we can kind of fluctuate and jump in and out. So the first part of the manual, it's the lesson that we're going to do today for which you pay. What I'm adding in here, and it's a personal choice. I think everyone should have this. This is the theory of intervals. This is the nuts and bolts in explanations, how the properties and everything that has to do with musical intervals. And I think especially musicians will find this fascinating because this is the old Italian, German and French school, the way they teach it to the highest level. You study this, you can go to Juilliard or one of the high level universities. Now this is an add-on. If you choose to keep it, it's going to be an extra $15. So I'm going to give everything here now to everybody. If anybody has a color preference, I'll let it people.
Can I have the red? I have two
Well,
Hondas.
how about we let the ladies choose first?
Okay.
Thank you.
What color would you like?
Blue.
Okay. What color would you like?
Thank you.
I'll take a green, because that leaves a green for somebody else.
Oh, such a nice person. Oh. You see, John, we let the ladies go first. Go ahead, John. What color would you like, John?
I would like red. I have two Hondas. Thank you.
Yes,
I
sir.
don't really care.
You care?
Not making
Yes,
any
sir.
difference.
I'm good.
Yeah, me too. It's only a cover, guys. All right. So you can put it on the floor.
We
Just
don't need our other one?
uh, yeah. So put it on the floor,
Okay.
or go grab yourself another chair and.
I would like that. Is it gonna
I'll
block?
get you another chair.
It might. So just for now, leave it on the floor.
I'm a table guy.
Okay, good. So now we're gonna go to work. Brief introduction. Did I give you the manual that you missed last time? This is the manual.
Thank you.
So let's
Remember
open the
we talked
manual.
about
Who
that?
doesn't have the manual from last time? Raise your hand so I can give it to you as a loan and we can open up. You need it?
I
you
don't
have the
know-
manual?
I don't know that I need it.
You do need it because you have to open a certain page that you cannot memorize 76 pages. So, one of the big problems in life with children and adults is following gentle direction.
I didn't know to bring it, but
That's okay, that's why I have extras, because I expect people not to be able to remember all the details,
sure.
which is kind of the human thing. So, ear training has to do with practicing through singing, listening, and reading. Singing, listening, and reading at the same time. Certain types of exercises which are relevant to the tonal system. So please open page 5. Okay? Very good. We're at lesson. The one that's the C major scale. This is the last time. We're gonna go over a little bit. Page 5. So step 1 of 7 is to tune your ear to A. La, 440 hertz, just like in an orchestra. Anywhere in the world you hear the oboe or the violin. That's A. Or La, for those that use the Solfege Do Re Mi system. So why not use the same system that professional musicians use it to develop that sound and make it and try to hear it in your own head. Just like my friend Stephen here said, also I have to internalize and hear sounds in my head. I don't need to hear sounds like a crazy person, but to be able to internalize. So if I think of A, I would say, by knowing one note, you can access the whole world of music. I think it was Plato, or one of the famous mathematicians. Give me a fixed point in the universe, and I can move the earth. One of the famous mathematicians said that. So same thing with music. This is your GPS, triangulation. If you are A, the satellite, you can hear it, you can find any note, any of the 11 notes, right? So if I want to find C, I would travel, I would find a path. A, B, C, La, Si, Do. So let's read this together. The principle of practicing these exercises is listen first, then sing. It says that on every exercise. This is for beginners that cannot read the notes. That's why the names of the notes are written underneath with Do, Re, Mi, 1, 2, 3, and A, B, C. So lessons 1, Do major, C major scale, and listen to the minor relative, A minor, have the whole book written the names of the notes. The rest of the 30 lessons, there's no more writing underneath. No, that's lesson 2, you have it. But if you practice lesson 1 and 2, when you're done practicing it, you'll be able to go to G major, E minor, and you don't need to read the names. If you cannot read the names, go back to lesson 1 and 2. It's that simple. But the numbers are kept. The reason I keep the numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 is because numbers represent function. 1 is tonic, 5 is dominant, exactly, 4 is subdominant, 7 is leading note, and the other ones in the middle, you know, and all that. So let's listen to A and try to focus on it. Now we sing it. La, la. Now we listen. It's traveling to C. Now we sing. We established the tonic of the C major. We found it. And now we're gonna listen and sing along with Do, Re, Mi, or ABC, whatever makes you comfortable. Do, Re, Mi, Fa, Sol, La, Mi, Re, Do, Re, Mi, Fa, Sol, La, Mi, Re, Do, Mi, Sol, La, Si, Do, Do, Mi, Sol, You arrive in the C major scale. This is the solar system of the C major scale. The tonal system where we function, and we know G major, E minor, F sharp major, all this, these are different tonalities. Imagine it that you have 30 solar systems, and each one has 7 planets. C major, G major, that's another solar system. B major, 2 sharps. A major, 3 sharps. So each one is like a solar system. Together is the galaxy or the tonal system of 30 scales, right? And if you have the foundation of these exercises, the scales, the intervals, 2 notes, the triads, 3 notes, the 7th notes, 4 notes, the 9th chords, 5 notes. In C major, you will be able to, and then you do it in the other keys, you'll learn harmony, you'll know how to travel from. You went to F major now. So you travel from one solar system, I use that with children, but you understand we're talking about tonalities. But it's the equivalent of traveling from C major to G major, and for that matter, you can travel as far away as the end of the galaxy, which might be for us. Then you want to go to C sharp, 7 sharps. You can go very easily. One way to travel, or you can do an abrupt. That's called modulation, but unless you master the relationships only in C major with these 7 notes. So everything in this book is done only with the 7 notes of C major, Do major. Yes, ma'am.
I sit over there, you don't have to turn this way.
Thank you for being so, let me help you with the chair. You're so kind. You notice my neck is getting stiff. You're so, yeah, sit at the table. This is beautiful. And this way you have a view of the keys also. Thank you so much. That was very gentle of you. Because if I'm going to do that a lot of times, I'm going to need
A therapist.
yeah, a therapist. I'm going to need, yes. So, good. So,
I'm good.
Does everybody understand the basic concept? Does everybody understand the basic idea here? We're working only with the 7 notes of C major. This whole book is C major. That's it. That's all we're doing. Okay? So, now we established part 1 and every book is identical in terms of structure.
Right.
But whatever we do in C major does not stay in Vegas. It applies to all the other keys. So we'll do the same thing when we go to the A minor. It's going to be easy because it's A minor, you're on the same key. But if we were in another key like G major, we would do A, and very easy. Right? I use A to become the dominant at the 5th note of the dominant in G major. So learning how to travel starts with understanding the relationships between the 7 notes in the C major scale.
I have a question.
Please.
Could you explain to me about this 440 hertz
Yeah.
again? What is it?
You can also Wikipedia, so we don't take too long to discuss this. But every sound is a vibration. We know that, right?
Right.
440 represents the number, the string or the body, if it's a wind instrument, the body of air, vibrates per second. So it doesn't matter where you are, who you are,
It's a frequency, right?
as long as you do this, if you could do this 440 times a second, you would get the sound.
It's for that A.
It's always like this. We call it A. You can call it cat, you can call it A, do, la, whatever you call it. This sound doesn't change. And that's part of the theory of acoustics, that a sound, that's why we teach children the same sounds, it's double the frequency. So this A, it's 880. This A is times 2. This A is divided by 2. 220, 110, 55. How much is 55 divided by 2?
27 and a half.
Thank you, I got it now. So that's another fascinating workshop that we're gonna do. But for your information, 440 represents the number of vibrations. So when I teach this, and you can teach this to your students, I inculcate, I include theoretical elements. So it's not just the boring, oh, I learned the C major scale. Slowly, you're sprinkling, you're dressing up the practice with music theory elements, like the one you just asked. And I like when the students, because I get youngsters say, well, what's 440? Is that an area code? You know, say, no, it's not an area code. And then I just explain this, and that becomes a lesson in itself. So this whole book has 7 parts. Each part has a theoretical part and a practical part. And you will notice that when you open the table of contents, you'll see how easy it is. If you go with a page backwards, you'll see part 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Go backwards. Backwards is this way. Good. And you'll notice that there's 7 parts, right? Each part is identical. Theory, exercise, theory, exercise. So the structure is very simple. Being a composer, I try to do reduction, I don't want to say reductio ad absurdum, reduction to the absurd, the smallest possible. So I try to keep things so logical that everything you see here is going to be in the G major, D major. So this thing doesn't change. The theory changes in the introduction. So as you can turn the page now, you'll see there's a lot of theoretical stuff here that you will read and the students read as they practice. But our concern today is to learn how to practice. This anybody can read. Some of you know everything, some of you need to study this, but that's part of the learning process. So we warmed up, we found part 1 helps us find A. And then we find the solar system. We need a navigation. So you create a melody and you travel. A, B, C, and then you swim a little bit. You travel in the neighborhood of a C major. You can do a different melody. I'm establishing it. Subdominant, dominant, dominant. So you feel like you're right in C major. The ears feel that. The next exercise we're going to do, again, 2A is theory. We're not going to read this now. We want to just go through it because we want to also go to lesson 2 and discuss the theory of intervals. So open to page 8. And instead of listening, you can sing together with me twice because it says first listen and then you sing. But we can do it twice directly with singing. So we're on page 8. Right, Stephen?
Page 8.
Are you okay?
Yeah.
You need some coffee?
No, I can't. If I drink coffee.
You went to bed at 2 o'clock in the morning. Yeah, he had a busy night. So we're on page 8. Let's sing this Moderato Allegretto. Ready? By the way, how many of you prefer C, D, E? How many of you prefer Do, Re, Mi?
Doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. So let's do a Do, Re, Mi. Because I was raised with Do, Re, Mi, so it's very easy for me, Do, Re, Mi. Ready? Do, Re, Mi, Fa, Sol, La, Si, Do. One more time. Do, Re, Mi, Fa, Sol, La, Si, Do. Down. Do, Si, La, we're on. Mi, Re, Do. John, just because you know the things, you need to do it the way I'm explaining it. Do you know why? You don't need this.
I don't?
No.
Okay.
You need this.
Okay.
You put your finger here and you follow it. Otherwise, you're never gonna master it.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's okay if I just say it the Japanese way I learned.
Oh yeah.
Quite the same sound.
I forgot.
Do, re, mi, fa. So we don't have an F sound. Fa, sol, la, si, do.
Oh, you don't have. You just say ah instead of fa.
Where is it?
Right, do, re, mi, fa.
Wah. I got you. That's fine. And the Indian, I also teach people that come from India, so I didn't do it in this manner, but there is a different set of syllables, same syllables, but they call saragama podani. So they go saragama podani. You know, you heard of this. You're from the Philippines. So at the end of the day, the labels don't matter. If we all agree to say do, cat, mouse, rabbit, we can always say do is dog, you know, then cat. So this is just a symbol that we use in terms of the letters. But it's been used for over 1,000 years, going to Guido d'Arezzo, do, re, mi, and all that's been evolved. So let's sing this to the end. So we start on page 8, and let's go. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, si, do. One more time. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, si, do. Do, si, la, sol, fa, mi, re, do. Do, si, la, sol, fa, mi, re, do. Do, mi, sol, do. Do, mi, sol, do. Now you listen to the chord. No, you listen to the chord. This is the chord. You have to listen to the notes because you will be able to, when you hear this, you say, oh, I hear that. It's do, mi, sol, do. So in time, you will recognize the structure inside the chord.
So I'm supposed to be able to hear all the sounds?
Eventually,
Because that's where I have trouble.
the less we
Right.
talk, the more
Yeah.
we hear,
Okay.
right? I'm going to teach you how to recognize each one of those sounds. If I learn it, anybody can learn it. But let's go through the motions because stopping is not good. You have to go from here to here without talking. So let's continue from page 9. It's the minor harmonic, the major harmonic. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, fa, si, do. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, fa, si, do. Do, si, la, fa, sol, fa, mi, re, do. Do, si, la, fa, sol, fa, mi, re, do. Do, mi, sol, do. Do, mi, sol, do. Listen. No, you listen. You gotta listen to the chord. Eventually, you're gonna focus on each note. Do, sol, mi, do. Do, sol, mi, do. Listen. Turn the page. And this is the major melodic. This is the mirror, the symmetrical structure for the A minor natural, A minor harmonic, and A minor melodic. In compositional styles, the major harmonic and major melodic is not used very frequently unless it's the Russian composers, romantic, very, very few composers. But for the purpose of the theoretical, complete approach, I use the identical structures from the minor. So you have an understanding about symmetry, which is another subject that comes in later. Symmetry in music and other things like that. So let's go to page 10. Ready? Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, fa, si, fa, do. You're allowed to slow down. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, fa, si, fa, do. Do, si, flat, la, flat, sol, fa, mi. You're on bar 47. You gotta follow bar 47. Right
Yeah.
here. Bar 47. These are the bars.
Okay.
Okay, so we're here. Ready? It's good to put your finger and just follow along. Ready? Bar 47. Do, si, flat, la, flat, sol, fa, mi, re, do. Did you lose it again? It's best
See,
that
I'm
you
having
don't.
trouble making those sounds right.
Doesn't matter. It's the first time. You don't need perfect. You just need to be on the bicycle and wobble. You're gonna learn how to ride the bike at 30 miles an hour in a little bit. Don't try to be perfect. It's just going through the motions in the first stage. So just go through it. Ready? Let's go at 47, everybody. Do, si, flat, la, flat, sol, fa, mi, re, do. One more time. 50. Do, si, flat, la, flat, sol, fa, mi, re, do. Arpeggio. Do, mi, sol, do. Do, mi, sol, do. Listen. Down. Do, sol, mi, do. Do, sol, mi, do. The rest. So, the danger is a lot of people, especially adults, say, well, I gotta do it perfect, I'm gonna stop. The big idea in this whole thing is to go through the whole thing without being perfect. And every time you do it, every other day that you do it, you're gonna get it better. But do not stop in the middle. There's a flow, there's a continuity of the exercises, how they link together, and you have to listen and not interrupt. Now it's a class, we talk to each other. But the most valuable time is when you're alone and you have your 15 minutes, nothing bothers you. It's quiet, good light, you have some water, you're rested. And if you need water, it's in the back, if you need to go get some water. And you do the exercises non-stop. And this routine will wire your brain for all the necessary connections. By the time you do this, at least for 1 week, ideally 2 weeks in a row, 6 days, 1 day stop. 6 days, 1 day stop. If you do this whole thing, you can do it in 2 parts. If you cannot run through the whole book, you do part 1 up to intervals, and part 2 triads, 7th chords, and 9th chords in the afternoon. So you break it into parts, but do not stop. The reading you do on your own, outside, but go through the flow of the exercises. That's very important. And you'll see next day, you'll understand more and you'll start recognizing. Do not do the exercises with lip service. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, si, do, do, si, no. It has no value. You have to kind of look at it and think what you hear. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, fa, si, fa, do. And you do this on your own instrument. You can play it on a flute, whatever instrument you have. And then ideally, if you have a piano, you can help yourself by using the piano to guide you. But when I was in high school doing this, the teacher did it once with the piano like this. Let me turn to the natural one. Let's go back to page 8 with no flag. So the teacher would do this. The whole class would sing do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, si, do. And we made mistakes. And they said together, listen to the piano with your voice. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, si, do. This is your guiding. So then she would say do, mi, do. Everybody. Do, mi, do. Or she would play do, fa, fa, do. And we focused on the lower note, on the higher note. So I'll show you all those steps. Let's turn now quickly. Page 12. Page 12 is basically, again, warm-up, swimming with the 7 notes. Swimming with the 7 notes. Page 12, Stephen. We're swimming with the 7 notes in combinations. This is called combinatorial singing or solmization. Page 12, right?
I got it.
Okay. It's best if you open the book completely so you don't have to turn it. Because having it open, you don't have to go like this and like this. That's just...
I did, you don't want to turn it back so it's flat.
Okay.
I'm
So,
sorry.
here's how this works. So, we're at page 12. Let's sing together. Ready? Do, re, mi, fa, do, fa, do, sol, do, la, do, si, do. What I would do is this. I would do this. I would hold it.
Right.
And with your hand, I would go like this. Do, re, do, mi, do, fa, do, sol, do, la. So you know where you are. Okay? And don't worry about it that you're not perfect.
Okay.
Ready? One more time. Do, re, do, mi, do,